My name is Rodger, and this is my wife, Sherri. A little background about us. We're a blended family of 16 years. We have 5 sons together, 3 grandsons, and another one on the way. So how did we get to be in front of you today? It all started about 4 years ago. My wife and I were going through some struggles and feeling God was just calling us into something deeper. I decided I wanted to give more time back to God and decided I wanted to go on a short-term mission trip. The following week, a pastor from our sister church came to speak about missions, and specifically about an upcoming mission trip to Moldova. I had no idea where Moldova was, but I was going to go. I returned on fire and began to share with Sherri all that had happened while we were there. I told her specifically about a little boy that I had in sports camps and how God had used him to get a hold of my heart. I had to get Sherri there because I felt God say He wanted me there on a more permanent basis. And Sherri said,
"There's no way I'm moving to Moldova on a full-time basis." Although I did see a change in Rodger, so the idea of going on a short-term trip did kind of pique my interest. I attended all of his team meetings, and the very idea of getting on an airplane just so I could do ladies' tea socials or sports camps did not merit that. I'm terrified of flying. But when Rodger returned, I did see a change in him. It was something that held my curiosity for the whole next year, and I committed to going with him. So we're nearing the end of the week, and although God had spoke to me several times during that week, He hadn't completely confirmed what Rodger had felt on his first trip, that we may indeed be called to Moldova. I had been asked to speak at a social workers conference regarding conflict resolution, and it was the last day of our trip, right before we were returning home. And everything that you can imagine, it was a Russian atmosphere, block buildings, statues of Stalin, very solemn when we arrive at this meeting. So I go ahead and I do my presentation, and I sit down, and once again I'm thinking that it's time to go, that we get to go back to the mission and prepare to leave. When one of the translators motioned that we had to stay, and there was another presentation getting ready to happen. So he motioned for me to come over and sit beside him because he was going to translate for him. This speaker was doing a presentation on the horrors of sex trafficking in Moldova. And due to the journey that God had had me on for the last 3 years, this was the confirmation that He gave to me that my story could be used in this country. It's a story of recovery from trauma and abuse, and I knew definitely that God was planning to move us to Moldova. On the taxi ride home, all the way back, there were tears, constant tears, tears of joy, and then also tears of sadness because I'd also just received my first grandchild, and I just wasn't sure how God was going to pull all of this together.
so we really want to do this.
What about our grandchildren?
What about our children?
What about our careers?
What about a retirement? We have both been to Moldova 4 times, and after countless hours of prayer and more prayer, we've made the decision to become full-time missionaries in the country of Moldova.
With each step of faith, God has met us and encouraged us onward in our journey to serve as church planting missionaries in Moldova. We will leave this very comfortable life we know to serve in a distant and foreign land because God has been faithful and will continue to be faithful. We can look back over these years and see God guiding our path to Moldova, a place we never imagined or expected to live, but feels exactly right and natural. We share this with you because this is not a journey we can take on our own, and nor do we want to. We need people who will partner with us, walk together with us, and pray for us.
To reiterate what Sherri was saying, we cannot do this alone. We need prayer partners and financial partners.
So we're asking that you prayerfully consider being a part of our team. Thank you.